I almost declined when she called and suggested lunch. For 3 years, every invitation from my mother-in-law carried a second meaning. If she wanted coffee, it usually meant criticism delivered gently enough that my husband would later call it concern. If she invited me shopping, she would somehow mention my salary, my family, or the fact that I still had not learned how her son liked his shirts folded, as if adulthood could be measured in domestic rituals. That morning her voice sounded unusually soft. "I thought we should talk without interruptions," she said, "just the two of us." She chose the restaurant before I could answer. I recognized the name immediately but said nothing. It had belonged to my father long before he retired, and though ownership had shifted legally over the years, everyone there still spoke of it as his place. I had grown up in the back office doing homework beside invoices and hearing kitchen noise like background music. I did not go often anymore. I preferred that most people forgot I was connected to it. When I arrived, she was already seated, handbag on the chair beside her, posture straight, expression arranged into something almost welcoming. "You're late," she said, though I was 2 minutes early. The waiter brought menus, but she barely looked at hers. "I ordered for us," she said. That was typical, too. She asked about my husband first, though she had spoken to him that morning. Then she moved to safer subjects, the weather, traffic, a cousin's engagement, each sentence too polished, like she had rehearsed being pleasant. Halfway through, she excused herself and walked toward the side corridor near the washrooms. I looked down at my phone, then noticed her reflection in the glass partition near the service area. She had stopped beside one of the waiters and pressed something folded into his hand. Money. He looked startled. She leaned closer, said something brief, and returned before I could fully process it. When she sat down again, she lifted her water glass with steady fingers. "You should try to relax more," she said. "You always look like you expect people to attack you." It was such a familiar sentence that I nearly ignored what I had just seen. The waiter returned carrying our plates. For a second, I thought maybe I had imagined everything. Then he set mine down carefully, looked directly at me, and his expression changed from professional neutrality to recognition. "Your grilled fish, boss." The word landed harder than the plate. My mother-in-law blinked. "Boss." He seemed to realize what he had revealed, but it was too late. I looked at him. "Thank you, Imran." He gave the smallest nod and stepped back. Across from me, she tried to recover. Since when do waiters call customers that? I did not answer immediately. I looked at the food instead, then at the folded napkin beside the plate. "My father owned this place," I said quietly. "He still comes every Thursday to check accounts, even though he pretends he's retired." For the first time that afternoon, her face lost its certainty. The waiter had not gone far. He was speaking in low tones to the floor manager near the counter. "I didn't know," she said. "I know." Her hand tightened around her fork. "What exactly do you mean by that?" I still had not touched the food. The manager approached our table, polite but formal. "Madam," he said to me first, "would you mind stepping aside for a moment?" My mother-in-law looked offended before worried. The manager turned to her. "We need to ask about an exchange made with one of our staff a few minutes ago." "It was a tip," she said immediately. He did not argue. "The staff member reported that you asked him to add a substance to the dish before service." The sentence hung there so cleanly that even nearby conversations seemed to lower. Her chair scraped lightly against the floor. "That is absurd." The waiter now stood behind the manager, pale but steady. In his hand was the folded cash, untouched. I told him no. He said not to her, but to the manager, then to me, and I asked the kitchen to hold the plate until we checked it. I looked again at the dish in front of me and felt something colder than anger. What substance? I asked. No one answered immediately. The manager said, "Police are already on the way. We followed internal protocol because of the allegation and because of camera coverage." That was when she finally looked at me, not with hatred, but with panic, as if she had expected humiliation and found structure instead. "You're really doing this," she whispered. I almost laughed because I had done nothing except sit still. 2 officers arrived within minutes, not dramatic, not loud. Questions were asked in plain voices. The cash was collected. The waiter repeated what she had said. The corridor footage existed. She kept insisting it was a misunderstanding, then that it was a joke, then that she never expected anyone to take it seriously. One officer asked her to stand. She looked toward me as though waiting for intervention. I gave none. Outside, through the glass, I saw her speaking rapidly while one officer listened and the other wrote notes. My husband called while they were still at the entrance. I let it ring once before answering. What happened? He asked, already breathless, already halfway to choosing disbelief. I looked at the untouched plate. "Your mother invited me to lunch," I said. "You should come hear the rest in person." When I stood to leave, the waiter apologized. "You did the right thing," I told him. I still was not hungry, but that was no longer the point. Some truths arrive loudly. Others arrive with a plate set gently on a table, followed by one word spoken at the wrong moment for the wrong person.